it's your old pal Uncle Ghoulie here again, taking you back into the weird world of horror, science fiction, and cult movies that we call Horror Incorporated. And they don't get much weirder than this week's feature. It's only from the mind of Al Adamson. It's the 1972 head case of a movie, Brain of Blood. It's about as goofy a film as you're bound to find. It's brain swapping aplenty, hand in hand with the usual Al Adamson trademarks. Deliriously bad dialogue, dizzyingly bizarre plotting, mind-warping photography and editing. Why, who needs a lobotomy when there's an Al Adamson movie around?
Al Adamson, sir?
That's right, Carbuncle, a self-styled filmmaker of singularly unusual horror movies with titles like, Horror of the Blood Monster, and, well, of course, the infamous Dracula versus Frankenstein.
Classics all, sir.
Well, that's right, and if you're looking for excruciating brain transplant surgery, long, boring car chases, a pin-headed monster that apparently must be the second cousin of the monster from The Brain That Wouldn't Die, well, then you've come to the right place.
Joy of joys, sir. It almost makes one glad to have gotten out of bed, doesn't it?
Well, I wouldn't go that far, Carbuncle. I guess it all depends on what you were doing in bed in the first place.
Yeah, of course, sir. Another low-budget masterpiece?
Well, I really don't know how low the budget could have been. I think most of the money probably went for the peroxide to bleach the leading lady's hair.
Charming, sir. So, this leading lady, could she at least act?
Well, I don't know, Carbuncle. I was so distracted by the bleach blonde hair that I kind of forgot to look.
Yes, well, you're probably better off because of it, sir.
Yes, you're probably right.
Hey there, Uncle Ghoulie.
If it isn't my favorite niece, 13, up from the vault with this week's movie. And it is.
So it's another movie slapping over with gooey brains this week, huh?
That's right, 13. Well, it's got phony baloney brain transplants. They use red paint for blood. They use sound mixing equipment as a futuristic laboratory. It's fun for the whole family.
Yes, if your family happens to be the Manson family.
It's a movie it's so weird, it's so goofy, it's so...
So why don't we just get on with it, instead of prolonging the agony any further?
I suppose that's a good idea, Carbuncle.
Of course, sir.
Gordon. Gordon, old man. What do you say we go on up to the booth and spool this baby up, huh? All right.
So how many innocent and unsuspecting victims has your flea-infested werewolf infected with rabies?
I stopped counting after 50. I'm thinking about moving him on to distemper.
Oh, do you think he's ready?
Sure, he's a quick study.
How enthralling. So tell me, how does it feel being such a menace to society at such an early age?
What can I say? I'm an overachiever. Come on, Wolfie.
One of these days she'll overstep her bounds, and I shall be there to revel in her humiliation, as much as she's reveled in mine, over and over and over again. Everyone must have a hobby, I suppose, and hers just happens to be causing me endless degradation. And she's good at it, too. Well, on the subject of endless degradation, do sit back and enjoy the 1972 masterpiece, Brain of Blood, starring the incredible shrinking man himself, Grant Williams, with Kent Taylor, Regina Carroll, Reed Hadley, and Big John Bloom as Gore, the buffoonish monster. If you're looking to place some blame, this was all directed, if one can call it that, by cult favorite Al Adamson. No one knows why.
Interesting, isn't it, that this non-existent Middle Eastern country of Khalid not only has its very own Taj Mahal for a palace, but a ruling class made up entirely of white people. Apparently his people adore him, but, it looks to me like his people consist of no more than a handful of extras.
At least this Muhammad guy looks vaguely Middle Eastern.
Ah, yes, the famous Zandor Vorkov. He's best known, not as you might expect as for being Al Adamson's accountant, but for having portrayed the king of the vampires himself in Adamson's magnum opus, Dracula vs. Frankenstein, complete with green face, big O afro, and dime store glow-in-the-dark fangs.
Still, any country that has a Jiffy Pop president wrapped in tinfoil is cool with me. Just don't put him in the microwave oven.
That's true. You know, why, dead presidents, they do keep better in aluminum foil. They stay fresher longer.
Ah, yes. It's only a matter of time, isn't it? Before the Master decides it's time to perform surgery, similar to the one in this week's movie upon myself. But this time, I'm one step ahead of him in that I've already taken my brain out and hid it in a very secure place. That will show him.
All this talk of Jiffy Pop presidents is making me hungry. Hungry for power, that is.
Yeah, say, you don't happen to have any freeze-dried dictators, do you?
I'll go check.
You know, Gordon, there are certain aspects of this week's cheesy movie that remind me of that all-time so bad it's good classic, They Saved Hitler's Brain. Only trouble is I didn't save Hitler's brain. No, I know. I sold it at our last garage sale. You know, I'm keeping it in my old bowling ball bag, and, well, you know, these things happen. Suppose we could go and try to forcibly retrieve it from the old lady I sold it to, but that would involve some effort on our part. Yeah, no one wants that. No, what we need is the cryogenically frozen head of a raving dictatorial lunatic, so villainous, so tyrannical, so immoral.
I have just the thing.
Phew.
I knew I had the freeze-dried head of a dictator somewhere in my room. Behold, Uncle Walt.
Perfect!
Oh, no, sir, I hardly think this man was the evil, malicious scoundrel you've made him out to be. I mean, really, after all, it's...
Have you ever been to Epcot Center?
Good point, sir.